clients and our friends, our family, and all this. But we're looking at now that communication is going to be forefront. It's going to be the big thing that's going to change the dynamics of how we're going to do business now from now on. I'm sad in one aspect, but I'm kind of excited about the possibilities, what will be in our path, how we communicate with our clients, our friends, our family, our associates, and our community associations. It's going to be interesting. I think it's going to be exciting in the end. I do not want to say I'm excited because what is happening to us, but I think it has made a turn. Just to give you a story, back in 1991, 92, I was an agent with Prudential. And seemingly back then we went to a all office meeting where we were presented with a futuristic look on how a real estate agent will work in the future. They actually had a virtual tour of a home where we actually walked through this home and looked at it and toured it. And we were all on the assumption that this was going to become a top reality of how we're going to do business, really close right there in the 90s when business was big. But it didn't come to any fruition, and so therefore it must have been way ahead of its time. Then we had another story came out. I remember, I don't know, some of you may not have been present at the time, but Robert Morris is has been an instructor for CRS at that time, was CRS, and for Women's Council for many years, many state and local associations. And I do remember that we were very slow to get to use, as you can see, trying to get on this meeting here, use computers and laptops. And I actually remember him standing in front of the group that we had a meeting with, their national meeting, and he says, look on the side of your computer, there is a on and off switch. And I couldn't believe the amount of people that went, oh, there it is. So we were just now catching up to that. And then he showed us how to get all the things off our desktop and put them in files and put them in files so we can go to the file and see all the things that we have dropped in those files instead of having all the little icons across the page. Well, then the next thing I want to remember is that on looking at that was a start. And now we have a change that is challenging us a whole lot. And we like it, we don't like it. We're having closings in parking lots and we're being masked, as Young Sue says, we're wearing gloves. But this is how we had to do to protect ourselves and those people we're with. So we look at the fact that now is the time, and we might as well do this while we have the time, to look at our sphere of influence, to look at our past clients, our possible future clients that we've been in contact with, some of our business associates and our fellow real estate professionals on establishing how we're going to do business. And now we had to look at how we're going to communicate with them. And there's no better time now to start now. There was a real estate guru by the name of Danielle Kennedy. Is anybody familiar with Danielle Kennedy? She was back in the 90s and little bitty thing, and she was so very good. And this, once she said, at one of the meetings, she said this, and it stuck with me ever since I heard it, was that we as professionals need to tell people how we work and stop letting the people that work with us or represent as clients tell us how we're going to work. And there's no better time than now in looking at communication as to tell our clients and the people we do work with how we're going to do work and what it's going to be like. So go back to another story. You may not remember this, but there was a time that we did not have all the emails at National. People were still doing mail. They were not texting, and they were faxing a lot, but there was the whole body of the council membership. I would say a good fourth of them maybe had emails. And I never forget, at the time, the leadership made a mandate that the following year, everybody must have an email address. And it was kind of painful for some people to feel like they think that they had to get an email address. And even through that pain, everybody did get one. And now we seem like we can't work without an email address, or can't work now without texting someone. So change that is painful. may bring out some good in the end. Looking at our business and how we're doing business, we look at now developing systems. Systems. How many of you have systems on how you do business now? Renee? Young Sue, do you have a system? Kathy, of working with business?
I have an assistant.
You have an assistant. Now, in the systems you're working with, do you have a system of who does the sales, who does the listings, who does the sales? Is there a system for that where if one of you were not there, the other person can pick right up and go ahead? Very good, very good. Now, we have to look at now developing systems of communication and notifying our clients. For instance, for example, I don't know how comfortable this makes you feel, but I can call Mrs. Smith and say, Mrs. Smith, I enjoy doing business with you, but we're now making some changes in the office and I'm having to make some changes. It will be imperative that you will have to have an email address and a telephone number that I can text information to you. Now, this seems to be simplified going back to what we're doing already, but you'd be surprised the amount of people in my age group that do not have all this. And they still need to know how to access and get in contact with someone without necessarily seeing them. Systems of communication can involve the who, what, when, and where. So for instance, if you are going to decide in your system communication, when you do a listing appointment, you're going to use some type of application looking at Skype to talk to your person one-to-one, or you may go and use FaceTime. This is a system that you may need to put in and tell your clients right now, this is how we're going to communicate. Therefore, we need to make sure that you're up and ready to go, as well as I was up and ready to go to this meeting. But we tell them how we're going to be up and ready to go, because this is going to be crucial how we communicate with each other. And use that. This is going to be good. In fact, it'll also help the other people, and a lot of people now have FaceTime, they have Skype. A lot of people that travel internationally have WhatsApp. How many of you have a WhatsApp? And all right, Young Sue, they do. I'm hearing to go to meetings. You know, they're using these, and Zoom. They're using all these applications now because we have to. We cannot go without seeing each other for some reason, and we love it. So therefore, now's the time to sit down and actually pin out how you're going to use, what you're going to use in your systems of communication and doing business as a relative to your listing appointment and working with your buyers and working with any type of sales activity come with administrative staff in your office. That's one system. In doing that, once you establish how you're going to do that, for instance, I forgot to add YouTube to that. For instance, if you are going to do that, you may want to develop also systems of education. Now that you have the communication line, how you're going to do and communicate with the people that you know, you want to have a system of how you're going to work education. Now, this education, again, can be the clients you already have, the clients that you are expecting to obtain, and it could be within the community. So if you contact anyone or anyone contacts you now from here on out, they must be able to access and be able to work with you on those bases. And that's how I'm feeling about it on systems of communication. Now, once you have your education down, you may want to formulate some education classes or education that you want to send to your sellers and buyers, but you should have a system how you're going to do that and how you're going to communicate. Then also in that, you want to develop systems for information. This is the best time in the world to become the absolute expert in your field of business or real estate. But in order to do that, you must become very well read. Read as much as you can so that you can translate and put this information out to people that will need to know it. The information about your community. Everybody's now, of course, is putting out information relative to the COVID-19 virus, but they are substantiating the information, backing up from CDC or from their city municipalities or from the governor or from the cities that they're in. So this is any type of information relative to real estate and how we're going to do business, or how business is doing, sales are doing in the community. You can bring this down to a small community, or you can widen it however you want to do. But using the systems that are now there for us to visually see each other and talk and communicate is going to be very prevalent, I think. If we go through this again in the fall, I think the council members will be very well ready to work and keep on working through. We are one of the essential business. They have already said we are essential business. They want people to continue to purchase homes. Let's stop right there and talk about visually seeing that property. How have some of you been showing the properties if you have listings?
I think virtual walkthroughs are becoming very popular.
Very good.
They even have been over the past year, but now that they're a necessity, taking panoramic pictures, video walkthroughs, digital is really the way we're going.
Exactly, exactly. You're very well spoken about that, because this is going to be, it's not the new reality, this is the reality. And it's nothing new. Some of this technology has been there. We just not have been using it on a consistent basis. So virtual walkthroughs, yes. We have to look at the fact that there are many in our millennial generation. That's what they do with the phone in the palm of their hand. They're doing a lot of walkthrough of properties, and in educating through your systems of communication to your clients to make them feel this is okay. It's going to be all right. It's okay if we do a virtual tour of your home. It's okay if we have this system put in place for people that want to see and preview, and only with their permission. Now, I don't know how many of you have used the Manaport. There was some talk about the Manaport on the privacy issue. There is a system, I understand, out there where you can actually get a 3D vision of picture of someone's property that people can see. But usually, if I was a buyer and I had to put myself in the place of a buyer, if I'm going to walk through a house, I like to see it and feel. I like to see the dynamics of the room. At least you can have the measurements. So if you had, for instance, a buyer coming through that want to actually see the physical property, then you can make the arrangements under safe conditions to do so. If you acquire a listing, you can talk as much as you want, and once you develop these systems of communication with your seller, at some point in time, as a professional, you really need to see the property, right? Yeah. So you would schedule that time under safe conditions to do that, to see the property. So looking at that in improving your digital means of communicating, attaching to the people that you know, is going to be very, very, very important. And it's important right now. Does anyone else have any idea or what we can do in this virtual world?
So I've been showing properties virtually for probably the last 4 years or so, because I work with a lot of military clients that are remote.
Very good.
So I've taken it to my listings now to make those a lot more accessible for people that are not able to view them in person at the moment.
Very good. Very good. Yes, you have to do that. And I'm so happy to hear, because it was back in 2010. Well, I met a young man in Missouri when I visited there. He was a realtor, and he told me that all his properties were video for virtual tours. And I was kind of shocked. I guess should not be shocked, but so many agents are still attached to the fact that I have to sit an open house. Now, do not get me wrong. Whatever your company policy and your brokers have asked for you all to do, then you must follow that, or you can follow that. But it's time to maybe start re-educating the public, as well as helping the brokers understand that there are going to have to be new ways that we're going to have to get people into these properties. And a lot of it's not actually physically walking through the property. So I'm happy to hear that. How many of you use YouTube? Oh, I see your hand, Richard. Yeah, I see your hand. I'm so sorry you can't see me. I really did a lot to get myself ready for this today. But YouTube, I have been very shy about YouTube. I do have a channel which I use for my family, for events and things, but not for my clients and prospects that are coming in. Has anybody used any digital marketing looking for prospects or prospecting with digital marketing? What do you say, Richard? Have you used any for prospecting for?
Well, now that everyone's in lockdown, it's a lot easier to reach people digitally.
It sure is. It sure is, isn't it?
Yeah. The Zoom meetings are helping. You know, there are a lot more community organizations joining it too. So
Yes.
the ability to prospect in, like, say, for example, like some sort of Chicago
Yes.
renters group or something like that opens up new possibilities.
I think you're very right about that. This is a horrible time we're in, but I think for our industry, it's really going to be a new way of working and looking at how we do business and reassessing how we can improve on what we're doing if we're doing digitally. So I think this is really going to be very good. I had something in my mind that just shot out there. So we have the what, you know, we're going to use, or we could use. Let me ask you another thing I want to throw out here also. As you look at communicating and improving your systems of information, there is a tool out there, and I've been working on this for about a year or so. Some of you all may have already done it. It's called virtual magazines. A virtual magazine that you actually can send out digitally. Please help me out with this word here. Digital, whatever. And you can send it out, and the actual person can flip through it. It can have your homes on there. It can have information in there. You can set it up just like any type of magazine. So I would invite you all to look at virtual magazines. That can also be a prospecting tool. It can be sent out to potential prospects or anybody you want to have. It can be sent out to anyone as long as you have their contact information. Now, that is critical. As you look at getting more digital information out in communication, it's imperative that you do right now, go through your sphere of influence and tell everyone, I want to make clear I have your correct phone number, your correct email address. And if I had a client, a client that was referred to me from Boston last year, and this gentleman's 70 years old, he did not have an email. He did not know how. He had a smartphone, but he could not do anything but dial on it. So therefore, I went through the steps to take time to show him how to use the phone and try to get him to do email. But there are going to be some people that just not going to do that. But if you can get a number that you can text to, that is good, because you can send a lot of things via text. So what do y'all think about that virtual magazines? It's really nice. You get sponsors, people come in and want to put some information in your magazine. What do you think about that?
It's like what you're saying is making, let's say, simple a buyer's information brochure about
That's right.
a 10 per page. It just like you say, you can have a sponsor. So when they're flipping through pages, you see the lender you are working with, and you don't have to pay entirely yourself.
That's right.
Clear
That's right. Exactly.
Yeah.
And I don't think they're getting expensive. I don't think it's as expensive as we think they are, Young Sue. I think they're getting less expensive, but it's a beautiful application. If you go just Google virtual magazines and see how they're done. Yeah. So let's see if I have everything here. What about buyers conferences? Doing these virtually online. Would you not have to, you have to set up a system of doing that, and preparation for the buyer, what to expect they're going to receive. That's even down to showing properties that they may have in mind according to their specification. I think this is going to be a wonderful way to keep in touch with them. So that, and then let me see, we also had we did talk about the pre-listing appointments and the listing appointments. So I believe once you develop the systems, I keep saying systems on how you're going to do this. So it is routine, but I think it's integral to know that you must get in contact with everybody you have now to let them know this stuff is crucial. You must have it. Just like Women's Council told us we all had to have an email address, or else they won't be able to communicate with us. It's going to have to be very important. Is there anything else anybody was looking for regarding media, using for communication, improving our communication digitally? What about you, Renee? Did you have anything else that you was that could
I
limit.
struggle with pulling the unmute button off. I'm sorry, I'm still a novice with this whole
See?
Zoom meeting thing.
Well, that's a
So
start.
it's funny, I use FaceTime a lot with my
Yes.
buyers.
Yes.
And I have used FaceTime a lot for years. I've used Skype a lot for years. And
Yes.
you're going to laugh when I say this. I've even used Facebook Messenger video a lot for
Oh,
years
yes, that's right.
with the overseas buyers.
Yes, yes. Well,
But when it comes to these Zoom meetings, I am still kind of lost.
you have to practice, and you know what I have done for all of you. You wonder, well, how can I do this? Well, you can set up a pseudo person and make that pseudo person your friend, your spouse, whatever. I said, now I'm going to practice sending out a listing, talking to you about listing your property, and let you practice the digital information with them. Zoom, I'm with you, darling. I'm still practicing using this Zoom. That's why I probably haven't got this wonderful picture up here so you all can see me. But Zoom is a phenomenal. As a matter of fact, they said they almost crashed Zoom this past month because of everybody has discovered Zoom.
But I did a buyer consult the other night on FaceTime where I was just holding some stuff up for her, and it worked really well.
Yeah.
And I told her I had no problem going out to some vacant properties and stuff on her behalf to view them. But that would be about the extent of what I would do right now. And she seemed fully understanding of that.
Yes, very good. So you can take that same thing you did and try to continue to ease this when we're out of this situation, ease it into maybe a system of how you're going to do work, period. Has anybody heard of Google Duo? Google Duo. That's good. If you have Skype, you have FaceTime and Google Duo, you can do a lot with Google Duo. I attended a doctor's appointment with my relative using Google Duo, just like I was there in the room with her getting the exam. So it was very good. That's another one. Anything that you can use to improve your face communication, lend your expertise by using our new digital applications, do it. What are you thinking about, Young Sue? Look like you got a
well, that Renee talked about Skype. Skype was early on, very early on when I communicate with the overseas clientele.
Yes, Skype.
You have to buy upfront so much dollar and you're using as you go. But Zoom meeting, it just started. I tell you, Renee, Zoom meeting is very, very good.
Zoom meetings is very good.
And you can bring it in. Husband seller, wife seller, you know, if children want to see whatever, you can bring everybody's screen.
Yes, yes.
And that's the good thing about Zoom meeting.
You can almost have a complete lesson with that for everybody. That's exactly. That's why Zoom has been so popular, because you can't see everybody and have everybody there like you're having a conference. You can do even a class with Zoom and notify all your contacts you're having a special class relative to the home loan process and have a lender there, you know, to help talk about it. So you can do everything that you would normally do and probably do more since it's digitally to educate, inform, and keep in direct communication with everybody. Well, also Zoom, I understand, is free for about, I think it's an hour. If you're going to no more than an hour, you can do it free. Some members have just gone on and paid and joined, and so they can have access to it all the time. There's a limit to how many people that you can have within an hour on there, but you can do it. And I don't know, we have to talk to the council to see if they have a way of we can go through them. If you had something very big you want to put on, to see if you could do that, but you have to check with the council on that. Well, we talked about that and the new technologies and media. I think our next step, once we get through the virtual living of working with our clients and our customers and our friends and family, I think the next step is going to be a hologram. You're going to show up on somebody's living room as a hologram. What do you all think about that? 'Cause I think it's next.
Oh yeah, we're not too far off for sure.
We're not too far off, are we? That's right. We're going to have holograms will be next. So I just want the members to start getting now the look for, be ready for what's going to come and be ready if this happens again. So we're not saying how we're going to do it anymore. And not be afraid. Also, we'll throw in here about safety. Be careful as you are on the internet. Again, understand there are some people that are bombing into Zoom, and they're maliciously putting pictures up that you could be having a conference in your Zoom session. So be very aware of that. Well, outside of that, pay attention to the National Association of Realtors. Go to their website. I think it's nar.realtor. Look at all the news related to COVID, all the news coming out regarding fair housing that you need to have, and be sure that you observe fair housing as you do these sessions with all your clients, your friends, and associates. And also read. Now we have the time, the luxury that we can read and bring in things from different aspects to learn and pick out what you're going to do for the spring season, what you're going to do for the fall season, and how much information you're going to lend, what the market looks like. If you're on LinkedIn, how many are on LinkedIn? That's right. Join LinkedIn, because LinkedIn does have Lawrence Yun on there, and he does do a beautiful, beautiful representation of what the market's going to look like, what is happening in our industry. So that information you can also give him credit to, and also use to give to your sphere. So that, I think, will cover pretty much what I had to bring to you and what you all will bring to the session. Do you all want to look at something else, or is there anything else that you want to bring to life for everybody?
I was about to say how ironic it was that he was so happy in his beautiful talk he gave in Miami at President's Circle, and 4 days later, here we were.
Boom, boom, boom. That's what I love LinkedIn about, because you do get him, and you do get a lot of market information, and you do have realtors in different aspects of the country that put in information. So I did join the Real Estate NAR group. That's another thing. You can join the group because you can find out information on that. FaceTime, if you're using FaceTime, it's great. I mean, not FaceTime, Facebook. If you're using Facebook, it's great, but I look at that as play and information that you just want to have fun with people with. But when you're talking about business, it's LinkedIn. So Lawrence, poor Lawrence, he's trying. All of them are trying. They're going to have to go back and regroup. We're all regrouping. But I'm so happy I got to meet Richard, and I think Eleanor, and you're not Eleanor. I see a face here with glasses. Oh, yes. Okay. Young Sue, I'm so happy to see and meet you all and have the session with you. Do you, either one of you, or you're just as well of a professional in this business as I am, do you have anything that you're doing in your working with digital media that we can learn from?
I've been using the digital just to try to keep the members of our Women's Council network engaged while we can't have any live events.
Yeah. Yeah, and that is, are you president of a network?
President-elect.
President-elect, which network are you?
San Antonio.
Oh, San Antonio is a beautiful place. Hot, but beautiful.
Not hot right now. We're going to have flash flooding this weekend.
Oh, I remember that in Miami being the hottest places in the world. But this is, I think if you can make it fun, do pre-marketing either through Facebook and some of the other applications, what's coming up. You can do invitations, text invitations out. It makes it even more interesting with your networks if they know there's a big meeting or have a guest that they want to hear. You can put a guest on there, invite them to come into your Zoom sessions, and they'll come if it's advertised and marketed, just as if they'll come to a physical place. So welcome new members. You can have a gathering, say you have a gathering of new members. Pick a time that you want to have this and advertise it, marketing. We're going to have all new members join us at this specific time, and have a topic you want to talk about, and that's the way to keep in touch. But it appears like it's going to be difficult because you're not having a physical place, or different, not necessarily difficult. But I think it'll be easier once we get the hang of it. We get the hang of it and seeing it. Practice with your friends. A lot of people having wine tasting. I see a lot of wine tasting. These people don't have gray hair and have a lot of load of wine by the time they get through this instance. And so I see a lot of fun events coming up through Zoom that people are using Zoom or GoToMeeting. So you can think of fun events from your network session, and you can always invite a guest. There are sponsors dying to get their information out and be part of a session, and just pick a topic that you want them to do. So
Work on that. Keep
yes,
practicing.
I mean, this is time to be upbeat and excited about the new media you're using, and have that type of attitude and mind frame. And if you have it, you have the energy and excitement about it, you'll transfer that to your members too. That yes, this is different, but it's going to be fun. You know, so do that, and then make a report. Make a report on the session someone missed. You know, so sorry you missed it this time, but I'm going to tell you what we did, and we hope to have your next session. Ladies and gentlemen, what else?
I think something crucial to think about in this time of everything going digital from home is security of your home systems. So like say your work computer and your personal computers are now starting to get closer and closer together.
Yes.
It's key to maintain that separation of security as far as user or customer information, listing information. You don't want somebody coming in and swooping up your virtual walkthrough or anything.
Yes, and you check, and also this is something you need to go back to your brokerages and check to see if they're going to have any guidelines or policy on usage and protection. My company will not only let us, if we're talking about company business, we're doing contracts, and if we're doing anything related to sales or closures or closings, we must use the company email because they have it secured, you know, on their servers and everything else. I can't use Bell South or Yahoo or anything like that. I must use the company. And I think if you're going to do things like that, you know, that's another thing that you inform your sphere about. You know, I will be contacting you related to business. It'll be on this email address. I don't take people's personal information anymore. Years ago, and this is 30 years for me this year, people wanted to get their social security numbers. I don't need anybody's social security number to show a home or list of property. So I leave that to the lenders and the attorneys to get that information. I don't even personally, as a person, I don't accept information on when someone sends a earnest money check. You know, that they need to send directly to the office, and they have means of getting that there securely. I don't want anything come to me personally. We can talk about contracts, yes. We can talk about listings, yes. Have that type of forms and information come, but not personal information. And you're very right about to secure your computers. Very right. Richard, where are you from?
I'm from Chicago.
Oh, born and raised there, partially.
Cool.
Chicago, South Side.
Nice.
Cook County, I'm born in Cook County, yes. Chicago's wonderful. You have some really good leadership there. Very good, very good. And Young Sue and I, we're right now in the same place, and here in Atlanta area. So anything else? So what are you gonna do first?
Practice on
Looking
Zoom.
for Furniture Magazine.
You're gonna practice on someone else or practice yourself. And I always get somebody, my husband, somebody to practice on. I sent him a listing when I was learning how to do listings online. I would send him a listing and we had to fill it out and everything else and practice. But the first thing you do is going to contact your sphere and say, this is how we will be working from now on. Okay, and these are the systems we can use to work with. So I will see you, but you may see me in this application. So they'll get used to the fact this is going to happen. So, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to end the session if that's all.
Thank you.
I like you looking so happy.
Good to hear your voice, Deborah.
So, ma'am?
I said, good to hear your voice.
It's good to hear you, Young Sue.
But
I remember meeting you in San Francisco at my PMN class.
Yes, I remember meeting your face. When I saw your face, I remember meeting you. Yes. So yeah.
Well, my now faded out purple hair.
Well, that's it. You all can't see me. I grabbed my back and a bun on top of my head. We're all going to have these strange looks when everybody sees us again. The beauty shop's going to be overrun with people. But other than that, it's good to see everyone. And I wish everyone success, and keep in touch, and you can give me a call and we'll see if we can work it out. If you have any discussion and want to use me as a guinea pig, that's fine. I have no problem with that.
Thank you for the great information.
Good. I hope it's some good, but it's going to be great. It's going to be wonderful. We're now stepping into the virtual world really full blast now, and I think we'll be ahead of the scale.
Yeah.
You all have a good day.
Too.
All right. All right. Bye-bye. Are you still there, Richard? Oh, there you go.
I am, yes. Yeah, I just sent out a quick note to you.
Oh, what you said?
If anybody in your particular branch or any of the members of this organization needed help with their digital transformation, I'm working with a couple businesses already to help ease the transition over.
Oh,
it can
good.
It can be kind of intimidating to move things remote.
Yes.
So I've been helping out. If you or anybody in your network needs help securing these processes or figuring out game plans as to how to digitize their work, I'd be able to help.
Can you do a session like this for?
I would love to. Yeah, I could even do it.
Get Livia or Peterson or Cindy. They're probably listening in or they're here. Contact them to do a session, because I definitely like to attend myself. Yeah.
All right, excellent.
Okay, you're a star. See, from this session, you become a star.
Perfect.
But that's a perfect topic, because we're going to probably have more sessions of different topics as we go along, and which is great. And we glean our best information from our members. This is what the network is. So
awesome. Yeah, awesome. I'm happy to. There's a couple of ways to, there's a lot of ways to attack this kind of problem too.
Yes.
So it'll be good. I'd be more than happy to have a presentation on this.
Very good. Very good. So get in touch with them. They probably heard this. So don't be surprised if they get in touch with you, or you can get in touch with them and tell them what you have in mind.
All righty. Will do, Deborah.
Thank you. Thank you, Richard. You too. Bye-bye.